Hello and welcome back to the Delve podcast. Today we're talking about this well-circulated adage of I should heal myself before I get into a relationship. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this. Is it true? What do we think? What do famous psychologists throughout history think about this? We'll delve into all things about that today. I'm Allie. I'm a staff therapist here at Delve Psychotherapy of Chicago.
And I'm Adam. I'm the executive and clinical director at Delve Psychotherapy of Chicago. And I have to let you finish your intro.
Spread the word with our awesome podcast, please. We're just trying to add value and be helpful to as many people as possible. So please do share. It would help us out. Follow us on Instagram at DelvePsychChicago. Follow us on Substack at delvepsych.substack.com. Here at Delve Psych, we offer individual, couples group, and family therapy. So if you're interested in a free consultation call, head on over to delvepsych.com, DelvePsych.com. Okay, now you can speak, Adam.
I thank you for your permission and grace and understanding. I got very excited because, all right, so here's the thing. We named Delve Psychotherapy of Chicago Delve before the AI boom happened. The company started in 2020. Since then, every single AI chatbot seems to love to use the word delve, and now it's become a characteristic little symbol that something was generated by AI. Yeah, I was here first.
I didn't know this. I did not know this. I was unaware. But so a lot of chatbots like to use the word delve just in their language. Is what you're saying?
Constantly, they'll be like, "Yeah, let's delve into that." They constantly drives me nuts.
We did it first.
Maybe they
heard it
stole
here
from
first, folks. Yeah, they did. Maybe you could sue and get a lot of money. No, just kidding. Okay, anyways.
I suspect their lawyers have more patience than I do.
That may be true. Okay, so we have a lot to delve into today, so let's get started. So this is an Instagram post, actually. The profile is called innerpeace.collective. Let me actually see if there was I don't know if that was the post itself is the actual person that posted it, or if it's a general Instagram profile that, oh no, it is.
I always really appreciate your diligence to this sort of thing, because I think a lot of people don't think about it, and you're very good about ensuring credit and sourcing. I appreciate that about you.
Yeah, thank you. I want to give credit where credit's due. So this is from, I'm going to butcher this name. I'm so sorry. Nistha, Nistha Singh. She's a therapist and a clinical psychologist from New Delhi, India.
Should get her on the pod.
So that's, yeah, we should.
She's probably more popular than us.
Yes, by these numbers, I'm seeing on Instagram, yes. But I'll tag her in this and we'll see what happens. So anyways, she posted this post that starts with the quote that I'm sure a lot of us have heard, I should heal myself before I get into a relationship. I'm not fully healed yet, so I can't start a relationship with somebody.
It's so sad. People, can I jump in? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Now you can talk.
The theme for today. It's so sad because it's a prolonging of loneliness when it's not necessary. It's so not necessary. And I understand where this is coming from. It's actually, I think it comes a bit from a self-doubting place. I don't trust myself. But there is a loving quality to it too. There, not always, but often this comes with I don't want to hurt somebody else. And that's such a kind gesture. I think we can evolve the thought so that you don't have to be kind and lonely at the same time. And you can get out there and try, but it is hard. It's also hard. So I don't know. I just feel my heart breaks when I hear this. It really does.
Yes, I think the intentions are in the right place. They want to put their best self forward when starting a new relationship with someone because, as you said, they don't want to hurt the other person. And are we ever fully healed, all of us?
Not in the slightest.
No. And I a lot of what you said, Adam, when I was in dating group with you was like, um, in order to work on being better at relationships, you kind of have to like be in doing relationships, be in it and do the thing.
Yeah, you don't learn to swim on land.
No, you don't. Oh, that's a good quote. We could pull that out later too. In a future episode. Yeah, you don't learn to swim on land. Like you can't just like sit there and meditate on, oh, I will be better at my attachment issues with my next relationship. Like, no, that stuff's gonna come up when you actually start dating people. And so how do you work on it without actually doing the thing anyway?
Exactly. Well, the challenge with the relationship isn't understanding what's happening. It's interacting with your own feelings while it's happening. And so in the safety and comfort and quiet of your room when you're all by your lonesome, you're not experiencing any of the things that you actually need to practice experiencing to get better at the thing. And that's a lot of psychotherapy, by the way. A lot of psychotherapy is you have to get better at interacting with your experience of those feelings rather than understand what's happening, which is why sometimes getting overly intellectual about psychotherapy is not really the best approach. And one of my beefs with the extreme preponderance of cognitive behavioral therapy in particular is like understanding it and reframing it is useful, is helpful, and we should do that. But it's an emotional experience. It's you gotta Les Greenberg says it as learning to change emotion with emotion.
Yes, there's an experiential element that we're missing if we're just sitting in our room and like picturing ourselves being better at being in a relationship. Which I mean, like, okay, if we think about like exposure therapy, like for instance, like if you have a fear of snakes, right? Like, yes, you could work up to like actually being in proximity to a real life snake by like picturing snakes in your mind, you know, kind of going through the motions. But at some point, you gotta like actually be in proximity to a real life snake. Otherwise, you haven't actually worked on the thing. You haven't actually done it. Like you could sit there and say, oh, I'm good all you want if you never come across a snake again. And
Absolutely.
yeah, you're good.
Absolutely.
You're fine.
Brief aside, by the way, we should talk a little bit about how graduated and exposure therapies work, which I'm not an expert. It's very behavioral, and that's not my forte. I've done a bit of it in my day. But if somebody's dealing with a more kind of pronounced phobia of some kind, there are specialty clinics in Chicago in particular that are very, very good at these sorts of things. We do have a clinician that I think is pretty experienced at doing some of these protocols as well. But regardless, it's a little bit more specialized. But anyway, in general, graduated exposure usually starts with what's called imaginative exposure. So you want to imagine being in proximity to a snake. Then you often want to kind of visually be around snakes, or sometimes if the fear is more involving other senses, like let's say it's dental phobia, you want to listen to the sounds, etc. And then you want to kind of be in the environment that these things might be in, but without the thing present. And then eventually you want to actually be in closer proximity to the actual thing. That's in contrast to what the historical psychologists tended to do, which was called flooding, which was like, scared of rats? Here's 50 rats.
There you go.
Bye.
Let's push you into it. There you
go. But what's interesting about that is that both technically work in terms of decreasing fear long term. So like flooding does work. It's also maybe torture, but flooding does work. It psychologically, like people tend not to be afraid of the thing after they've just been around it a lot. And it just speaks to that kind of natural adaptive quality of the human mind, its ability to kind of cope with extreme things. It will get used to its new circumstances rather quickly.
Yes.
As long as you're kind of leaning into those, which is maybe where we come back to some of this relationship stuff.
Yeah, so we're not the only people that believe that you can, not be super healed while starting a relationship. So we're going to go through a lot of like the major players in the psychology field and what they had to say about this. Okay, so Sigmund Freud.
No.
The daddy of psychology, if you will.
The daddy issues of psychology.
That too, absolutely. Okay. Sometimes, he has some good things to say.
Sure.
Sometimes. So yes. He says, you don't wait to be healed. You discover what needs healing through relationships.
Okay.
I agree with what he said here. Like the things that you need to work on will be revealed as you are in relationship with someone. And you may not know those things that need to be healed until you actually are in relationship with someone.
Yeah. Well, and also it speaks to your emotions don't tell you what to do. Your emotions kind of guide you that something demands attention. And there's sort of like big old flags saying like something's happening here. Then you turn on your brain, you look around and you examine. That's a better way to interact with your emotionality. Whereas often what many people are doing is they feel an emotion and like, let's say I feel scared, so I run. That's reactivity. And you generally don't want to be reactive. You'll run away from your goals and your
Yeah. So I agree with him. So let's go to the next one here. Because we have a good little list here. Okay, Carl Jung. You need both inner work and relational mirrors. Without relationships, parts of yourself may remain unseen. So similar kind of thought process that Freud was having too. Like, yeah, like you can do the inner work. Like you can be seeing a therapist for individual therapy while you are starting a new relationship with someone. Absolutely.
If you've had relationship issues, I'd encourage it.
Yes, you can do both. It's not just an inner work game. And it's not just like an outer game, like it can be both, right?
Also, if I may, another little aside here. If you've tended to have relationship issues in the past and you are working with a therapist, pro tip on what makes our job a lot easier. If you tend to be afraid of relationships and want to get out of them, then your natural inclination is going to be to talk about the problems with people. And you want to flip that in your own mind and talk with your therapist much, much, much more about what is good about various people. You could still acknowledge good things in people and not be with them. But if you tend to run, then talk about the stay mentalities. And if you tend to overly stay, or you tend to get pie in the sky or really excited, then it's helpful to do the opposite there too. What are the problems? So like, oh my gosh, I met this incredible person and I'm so damn excited. Let me tell you all of the amazing things about them. It can be tough as the therapist to like burst your bubble. I'm not saying I won't, but it can be tough for the therapist to burst the bubble or to examine some of the other factors. And ultimately, we need both, right? Like our romantic partners are both outstanding and freaking annoying, right? Like, because we're humans, and all people are that. And so if you find that you tend to overly live in one of those two valences, then practice the other one and practice it specifically with the therapist.
I love that. That's kind of like a theme, I feel like, where it's like if you tend to sway toward doing one thing, try doing the opposite.
It's one of my hacks for therapy. Honestly, one of the easiest things that any therapist can do to get better at therapy is figure out what the person tends to do and teach them the other thing. Teach them the opposite thing. It's not that the opposite thing is better. It's that they came to you for help, which means that doing what they do doesn't work for whatever their circumstances are. So you teach them the opposite of the other thing. And you've probably seen it in your own life, in your clients, etc. So you have that experience that they don't, which is how you can be helpful. And ultimately, at the end of the day, whatever the thing is, we probably need both valences of it. It's very easy.
Yeah, I love that. And then maybe eventually somewhere we end up somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. Yes.
Yeah.
um okay, cool. So Young is on board with this idea of you can still be in a relationship if you're not healed yet. Okay.
I think
Um
he's dead, but he probably was on board
oh, did I talk about him like he's in present
in the
tense?
present. He's on board now.
Yeah,
He's dead.
he's no longer with us, I'm pretty sure. um okay. So Mary Ainsworth, attachment theory is her thing. So, okay, what does she say? Healing often happens inside safe, corrective relationships, not before them. Ooh, I
Yes.
love this idea. Yes.
Mary Ainsworth deserves the Nobel Prize in psychology. There isn't a Nobel Prize for psychology, you jerks, but there should be, and Mary Ainsworth should get the first one. The work that she did with the strange situation paradigm is brilliant. It's a surgical approach to figuring out exactly how attachment would show up in various situations with babies. We should talk about it sometime. I'm not an expert with infant attachment, but Bowlby and Ainsworth in particular,
Yes.
masterful,
Yeah,
masterful.
really great work. So this like she talks about having like a safe corrective relationship. Um in my grad program, we talked a lot about like creating like a corrective experience with a
Mm,
client. So I think that's kind of what she's talking about here. How if, for instance, if a client is used to like their parent um, kind of rejecting them or chastising them if they show vulnerable emotions, how can we give them a corrective experience? Well, me as a therapist can create a safe, warm, accepting environment for all of their emotionality, not rejecting them or being afraid of their emotions or chastising them for having emotions, but being like, yeah,
mm,
I'm here, I'm not running away. And that in itself can be healing. So I think she's
right.
talking really about this, yeah, how corrective experiences can be really healing. If you had a past experience with like a relationship that was abusive or not even to that extreme, but just not pleasant, and you are in a new, healthy, stable, consistent relationship, it's like, oh, my eyes are opened up. I don't have to be so on guard. Oh, I don't have to like I
Right.
feel more safe. I can relax, I can sigh, and that in itself is so healing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Secure partners in particular, I think, are relational wizards, um, because they have the ability to like ward off attacks and predict potential pitfalls and just do this incredible job of repeatedly securing the partnership. And it is very difficult to find secure partners, people that already have that kind of skill set for security. But if you find one, very often I'll see this. If you find somebody who tends to have this relationship skill set and you really kind of help nurture that in them, very often the avoidant partner will end up like gymnastic style trying every potential avoidant trick that they could possibly find at this secure person, and often it won't work. I'll talk in just a second about how it sometimes can undermine the whole thing, but generally speaking, the secure partner just tends to kind of lock shit down. And if there's a potential for a pitfall in this particular direction, then they'll sort of always just navigate right around it. And but anyway, then the anxious partner will do exactly the same thing. The anxious partner will, pull for too much. They'll overly demand, they'll overly criticize, etc., and so on. But again, the particularly secure individuals just adroitly kind of walk and navigate their way through that, just at almost every turn, just lowering the stress and lowering the stress and lowering the stress. It is possible to bludgeon them with insecure attachment too much. And usually what you'll see then is that even secure partners start to become pretty insecure, because security involves an accurate, proportional response to threats. So if there are real threats to the relationship, then they will respond to them at a real level. So they're not going to turn a small fight about the dishes into a days long like freeze out, because it's not proportional. But they will very much have days of distress in response to real threats to the relationship, because they should. And very often then they'll get accused of being clingy, dependent, avoidant, anxious, etc. It's like, no, they're secure. They're responding to a real threat
Yeah.
proportionally.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think also it could become, I don't know, they like, for instance, like someone with like more of an anxious attachment, if they're constantly going to the secure partner with reassurance and more reassurance, and I need more reassurance and more and more and more and more, like I wonder if that would break down the secure person after a while. It might be a lot.
I'll tell you how it might. I think that the secure person is probably going to respond to those pulls for attention and reassurance with just giving attention and reassurance, and like constantly sort of solidifying there, which over time should calm the anxious partner down. Sometimes the anxious partner will turn avoidant as a result, because now they've been reassured, and so there's nothing to chase. But the way that it tends to undermine is if the reassurances themselves don't work. Like, hey, everything's okay. I love you. We're good. Don't,
Yeah.
there's nothing to worry about here. Yes, there is. There's a real problem. Then the secure person doesn't have any options anymore. And that
Right.
starts to feel like there is nothing that
Exactly.
I can do to help this person feel calm and stable. Now I've got a real threat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next important person in psychology. Okay, yes, John Bowlby, the other
We just talked about
attachment
him.
theory person we were talking about. Um, waiting to be, in quotes, completely healed might deny you the very environment needed for healing.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love it. Like, I didn't fully go through every single one of these before we started talking. And I love how I pretty much said like the same thing as he did earlier, like this like sarcastic, like completely healed in air
Uh-huh.
quotes, like
Yeah.
as if that's like possible. Um and yeah, sometimes you need the right environment to heal in, and sometimes that like secure relationship, safe relationship is the very thing you need.
Yeah, I think that the general thinking is something along the lines of "I'm not ready yet." And in men's group in particular, we have a quote that we use quite often. At least we did. Maybe we haven't in a while, but the quote is, "Do it a little before you're ready."
I like that. I like that a lot, because when are we ever 100% ready for anything?
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
not. I hear a lot of like parents say that kind of thing too. It's like, when are you could read all the parenting books. When are you 100% ready? You're not.
right.
It's like, okay, I guess we're doing the thing. The baby's here. Gotta figure
Yep.
it out. Okay, amazing. Okay. Next one. Carl Rogers. Okay. Humanistic psychology. He's also like the father of person-centered therapy.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't need to be, in quotes, fixed to be loved. In fact, being accepted as you are is what facilitates healing.
I love this because people worry so much about dating when they have flaws because they'll be rejected for their flaws. I often ask them, what happens if you happen to find somebody who accepts those flaws? Then what do you got? And it's like, oh, yeah, damn, that would calm me right down.
It would, right? Like, again, that's healing. This reminds me of like another like popular adage that's like, oh, you need to love yourself before you can love someone else.
Mm.
Um, I
Do both.
do both. Yeah. Work on loving yourself while also in consort with others, because, maybe being in consort with others who love you with your flaws and all will help you on your journey of finding love for yourself.
And I'm burning a quote by saying this, but like loving the other is a way of loving yourself. Like injecting love into the world and trusting that you've got the capacity to help soothe and heal and care for other people is a way of taking care of yourself as well. We
Mhm.
talked recently too about generosity being a really great thing to do when you're feeling sad.
Oh my God, yeah.
It is a gift to everyone, including yourself, to inject more love into the world.
Yeah. Not feeling so great about yourself, spread love to other people. See how you feel
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I agree. Um, okay. This is the last psychologist. Donald Winnicott,
I don't
object
know
relations
nearly
theory.
as I don't know as much Winnicott as I want to. I want to dig
Same.
into Winnicott, but object relations theory is rather obtuse as I've
Yes,
experienced it.
yes,
So,
yeah.
but that doesn't
Um,
mean there's not wisdom there.
yes, okay. You don't need to be fully healed, just real and held in a, in quotes, good enough relationship. That's interesting to me that he says, yeah, he, good enough relationship is how he describes it.
Can you lay that quote on us one more
One more
time? I
time?
just want to hear
Yes.
the whole thing.
Yes. Okay. You don't need to be fully healed, dash, just real and held in a good enough, in quotes, relationship.
Mm, yeah, because they don't have to be perfect.
No, again, neither do you. They don't have to be like, you don't need to wait for this magical person to save you or heal you, right? Like, because I think even like imperfect relationships can be healing.
Well, and healthy people act unhealthily sometimes.
Yeah, none of us are perfect.
Right.
Or do the right thing every single time. In fact, like, I don't know how much that would really teach you if you're just with a person who always says and does the right thing, never gets angry about a thing, never misspeaks. Where's the
Right.
growth and learning there? There's no friction then. It's like, yeah, you do whatever you want. It's like the person who's secure, but like also is like made of steel somehow. And like, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what the other person does, it's like, it's okay. I love you no matter what, even if you treat me like crap. It's like, well, how's that healing? Like, it's more healing
Yeah.
for the person to tell you, hey, you did this thing. I felt a certain way about you doing this thing. Can I ask that you not do this thing? And then you feel a certain type of way about it. And then you're like, wait, I have to look at myself and grow. And, anyways,
Yeah, daring to show somebody your own self-respect and your own boundaries is trusting them too. You don't negotiate with somebody that you don't trust. They'll it's dangerous, so you don't.
that's true.
Um, and I think that we lose sight of how important it is to struggle with our partners at times. The Gottmans talk a lot about this idea of fighting correctly, fighting the right way, rather than not fighting, because if you are not fighting, you are capitulating. And if you are capitulating, then you are not being present in a relationship. And you have to be willing to have needs, especially to all of the people who tend to quiet themselves in relationships. Please, please hear me. You have to have needs, and the other person needs to know about them. And if you don't feel that you can bring those up, aside from severe abuse situations, where there's a whole other cascade of things that need to be considered, if you're in a relationship where you don't feel that you can bring up your needs to the other person and have them respected and heard, that has to be examined. It has to be examined.
Yeah, you're only human. Like, it's not realistic for you to just, I don't know, um, be not have any sort of like conflict in a relationship with someone, even if you have the most lovely relationship ever. Like there's going to be moments where you don't like a thing your partner did, or you need them to do something different, or you're just not happy about a certain thing. Otherwise, like I would really like it makes me worried, the couples that are like, oh yeah, we've never had a fight. Like ever?
Yeah.
Ever? What's
Yeah.
happening? Somebody's not speaking up about their needs.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, one of two things tends to be true there. They either do have tense negotiations that some might consider a fight, they just tend to narrativize that away as not a fight.
okay.
Um, or often they're swallowing shit. And if they're swallowing shit, they tend to be building resentments. And that too is talked about in the Fight Right book, the Gottman book.
And resentment is such a killer for relationships. It really is.
Yeah, because it
So,
often turns into contempt.
and that's one of the four horsemen that the Gottmans talk about. That's a
Yep.
whole other podcast topic, maybe.
Yeah.
So then, what was her name again? I just want to get her name right. Oh no. Uh, we might have to cut this out.
I
Okay.
refuse to edit unless I must.
Okay, so Nista, I think. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. She ends the Instagram reel with saying, so instead of I'll heal first, then enter a relationship, try I'll take responsibility for my healing while also allowing a relationship to be part of it. Yeah.
Right.
So kind of like what we were saying earlier, like, yeah, there's no reason why you can't like be in your own individual therapy and work on your own stuff, and also be in this new relationship and try to figure it out and work on it, you know? So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this is such a well calibrated list. I am curious if we're sure that all of these are actually traceable back to the purported source. The Freud one in particular had me a little bit curious, but regardless, the ideas are solid, and I generally agree with the general framing of the broader argument. So well constructed to
yes,
our
I think it makes a
influencer who put it together.
yeah, really good argument. Where we apologize if these people didn't actually say these quotes, but the argument still stands true. So,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
so yeah. Um, okay. I think maybe we make it a little shorter app and we move on to the quote.
Let's do it.
The quote of the day. Dun, 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 dun. A bird can always fly away, which is why it can feel a little safer staying put. A bird can always fly away, which is why it can feel a little safer staying put. All right,
So
tell me your thoughts on this one.
if you got a way out, you have permission to stay in. If there's some opportunity for escape, you don't have to take it right now. If you know how to get out of whatever the situation is, if you know how to get away from whatever the thing is, then you don't have to do that immediately. And you can allow yourself some time to stay in the presence of whatever the stressor is and see what it is. So it's kind of in keeping with our conversation today. Some people in certain relationships might feel something scary and get the hell out. But if you've got a well-oiled machine of getting out of relationships, if you've left a ton of relationships in your past, then you know how to leave relationships. So you are not trapped. You have ways out. You again, barring abuse situations, you have ways out. You know how to get out. You've got experience getting out. You know you've done it before. So stop running for a second and spend some time with some of the feelings and be more thoughtful about leaving a little slower if you need to. You still know how to do it if you actually do need to do it.
Right, unless you're like unsafe and like you
Right.
need to leave immediately, which again needs to be done like thoughtfully. If if it's a scary abusive situation. But yeah, I know of those people that just like immediately at the first sign of like danger or discomfort, it's like, oh, I'm gone. I'm
Yep.
gone. And it's like,
Yeah.
well,
I mean, a general heuristic is if you have a hard time getting out of relationships, go slower getting into them. And if you tend to have a hard time staying in relationships, go slower getting out of them.
again, it's do the opposite thing.
Right.
They were talking
And
about earlier. Yeah.
talk to your therapist while you are doing these things.
Yeah, but how interesting. I like that heuristic. I really do. Um, yeah, and like trust yourself. Like if I think maybe people don't trust themselves to be able to get out. The people that are like, I'm just gonna, because yeah, if you have an idea, if you've been able to get out of relationships before, and you know you can do it, you've had those uncomfy conversations before, you've kind of like split off and had that like ceremonial dividing of the things before, whatever, then like I don't know, you the time you can be more thoughtful about like when you decide to do that, and not be as reactive, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not uncommon. I'll talk to somebody with a bit of an avoidant bent who's left a lot of relationships and they're about to leave another one. And you see this general pattern. You see this constant sort of like the avoidant person is deeply afraid of being trapped.
Right.
And so they'll run at the first sign of potentially being trapped. And it's like you've never, maybe depending on the person's history, but in many cases you've never been trapped. You maybe are afraid of being trapped, but you've never been trapped. You've been on the run for 20 years, but you have never actually been trapped. And so you're so afraid of this thing that's never actually happened. And you can be so afraid of being trapped that you deny yourself the opportunity to be loved.
Yeah, because maybe there were actually some good things about that person and the relationship that you were building with them, and just because you were a little, something made you a little bit uncomfy,
Yeah.
instead of like having a conversation with them or working through it, you're like, okay, I'm out. It's easier for me to just run.
Yeah. People are leaving good relationships with good people every day out of fear and usually with tons of well-crafted arguments.
Yeah, justifications.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I
Stop it.
actually
Stop
stop
doing
it.
that.
Stop doing that. Um, and yes, you can enter in a relationship without being quote unquote fully healed, whatever the heck that means. Um, thank you everyone for joining us today. As always, follow us on all of the things. Instagram at DovePsych Chicago, Substack, dovepsych.substack.com. And if you are interested in a free consultation call, head on over to delvepsych.com. That's DELVEPSYCH.com. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you, Allie.
Thank you, Adam.
Bye.
Bye.